गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड आफ्टरनून, गुड इवनिंग, जो भी अपने हिसाब से रख लो। जिस टाइम पे देख रहे हो उस हिसाब से रख लेना, वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। इम्पोर्टेंट वो है जो अभी डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं, जो है इनवर्स ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शंस। सो इससे पहले कि हम लोग ये डिस्कस करें, इस वीडियो में हम लोग इंट्रोडक्शन टू इनवर्स ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शंस और ग्राफ्स वगैरह कैसा होता है, विल बी डिस्कसिंग ऑल अबाउट दैट. And I'm just making this video so that you can easily understand these things. See, I always got this query from everyone that inverse trigonometry function is so difficult, its trigonometry is so difficult. Okay, it's not difficult, it's the name which is making it difficult. If you understand what is trigonometry, then inverse trigonometry function is same as trigonometry only. If you have understood trigonometry, then inverse trigonometry is very much similar to trigonometry. All the formula, everything, they are just derived forms. Okay, so in this video we'll be discussing about that. And apart from that, you can see my mail ID and my phone number. In case you have a query, or if you want to take a direct one-on-one session with me, or group classes, if you have a group and if you want classes from me, you can always contact me. Also, do subscribe, just in case, if you want more number of videos, you can mention that in the comment. And also, if you subscribe, the upcoming videos notification you will be getting, and that will help you. So yeah, without any delay, let's just start with this inverse trigonometric functions. Let's understand what is inverse trigonometric function. See, in trigonometry we have learned about sine theta, cos theta, tan theta, sec theta, cosec theta, and cot theta. We've learned about all these things, right? So by the time when I'm starting this video, whoever is watching this video, I'm assuming that you are quite versed with all these terms. What are sine theta, what is cos theta, all these things. And I'll just give you an introduction. See, sine theta, cos theta, these are just ratios. Ratio between two sides. When A is the side of a right angle triangle and B is the side of a right angle triangle. Okay, what side? You can see it in the video that I'll be making, or I have already made, or you can see anywhere else for trigonometry. But I'm assuming that you already know about all these things, and based on that only you will be understanding what exactly inverse trigonometric function is. Now, let's first understand what exactly happens in inverse trigonometric functions. So before that, let's understand what is function. If I'm writing f of x, then what does this mean? See, in general world, whatever function means, in math also function means the same thing. Okay, for example, if you have an object, let's say a chair. Let's say you have a chair. What's the function of chair? It will provide some space to sit. That's it. So when we say function, it's not an object. Function gives you an idea about what to do with this. That process is given this name f. So by doing something with x, we'll be getting some other value. Now if you can do the reverse of what you have done with x, you should be getting the original value again. Now this process is called inverse. If I say f of x is equals to y, if I follow the inverse process, then I'll be getting another variable or another function or another value, but the process will be reversed. Now let's understand this inverse thing with an example. See, let's say if I am writing f of x is equals to 2x plus 3. Now see, x is a variable which we have used over here, but what exactly f means? F means the complete explanation of what you are doing with x. For example, here what you are doing with x, here you are multiplying x by 2 and you are adding 3. So when we say multiply whatever is the variable or the value which is given over here by 2 and add 3 to that, if you are doing this, then that's called a process that you are applying on x, and that process is called function. Now think, with x what we are doing and what could be the reverse of this. First we multiplied by 2, then we have added 3. Now reverse of that, if you want to do, then first you will subtract 3, then divide the whole thing by 2. So that would be considered as inverse. Now the confusion comes, here also we had x, here also how can we write x? See, x is just a variable, okay, we can use x anywhere. Now in place of x, if I am using a number, here if I use, for example, let's say I use 7, I'll be getting some other number over here. So 2 into 7 is 14, 14 plus 3, I'll be getting 17. Now if I use 17 over here, I should be getting 7 again. So the value I need to get according to the function that I am using. Variable, I can use anything. If you want to use y, you can use y also. If you want to use z, you can use z also. Doesn't matter. So yeah, this is what is inverse of a function. Now in case of trigonometry, we are using angles over here, and when we use trigonometry, we are getting a ratio here. Now when we use inverse, we will be applying the inverse for the ratio, and I should be getting the angle. So that's the process, that's the only thing which is there in inverse. And all the relations, all the formula that are there in trigonometry can be applied here. All the formula. If you remember the formula of trigonometry, there are easy ways to remember the formula also in trigonometry, but that you will be learning in the videos that will cover trigonometry. But if you remember all the formula of trigonometry, you don't need to mug up or remember a single formula in inverse trigonometric functions. You can always derive them. But yeah, it's good to remember, because in the exam you might not get that much time. But with practice, you will automatically remember. So don't try to remember or don't try to mug up. Just try to understand and practice, so that you will remember them automatically and you can apply them in the exam. Now, if you just look at the note, okay, so these values are called domain values, and these values are called range values in case of trigonometry. Domain values means the value we are using in the function. Range value is the value that we are getting by applying the process that is defined by the function on the variable that we are using inside the function. So in case of trigonometry, you will be applying the function on angles, and in return you will be getting the ratios. So that will give you domain and range. Now let's understand the domain and range for inverse functions. Okay, so what we'll be doing, let's just erase this entire thing so that you know. So now let's understand what exactly happens in case of inverse trigonometric functions, and what are the domains and range and how they are decided. Okay, so in case of inverse trigonometric functions, the domain and range, they'll get interchanged. Okay, badal jayenge, they won't remain the same. Obviously you are taking inverse, right? Where while you were considering trigonometry, you were applying the formula on the angle and you were getting the ratios. Now you are using inverse trigonometry. So in the inverse process, whatever was the range values that you are getting, you will be applying the function on that and you will be getting the angles. Now it's not like applying means, you know, in normal function, if I am writing f of x is equals to, let's say, 3x plus 2, you're multiplying, you're adding. Okay, so these are arithmetic operations. Okay, so here you know what you will be doing with x. But when it comes to function, it's not always about doing arithmetic operations. There are other types of operations also. For trigonometry, also the functions are well defined, and if I am writing sin x, there is a definition for sin x. So once you understand this definition, then the reverse process also is from this definition only. So you got to understand this definition. Just for reference, I'll just define sin x. Okay, and based on that you can think of the definition for other trigonometric functions as well. See, for example, over here we are doing something with x, and we can explain, okay, we'll multiply x by 3 and we'll add 2. Similarly, in case of sin x, the definition would be, we will draw a right angle triangle. See, here also we are doing something, alright, with the variable. So in this case also, as we are doing something with the variable, we can say that, okay, this is a function. This is a different type of function. We are not doing the same thing that we have been doing in arithmetic. Okay, so if ABC is a triangle, a right angle triangle, then if x is one of the angle other than the right angle, then if we take the ratio between the opposite side, or which is also called perpendicular, of the right angle triangle, and if we take the hypotenuse, and if we take ratio between them, then that would give me sin x. Now you can ask, okay, we are taking ratio between the sides, how can this be a function of x? How can this be dependent upon x? So in detail I have explained, and you will be able to find that video based on trigonometry. Okay, you can search for that. I have explained in detail why is it called a function of x, which is the angle, whereas we are taking the ratio between the sides. Okay, alright, now let's come to this inverse trigonometric function part. See, quickly I'll just explain this part because this is just introduction. Okay, so in case of inverse trigonometric function, what we'll be doing, if I take inverse of this ratio, then I should be writing the corresponding angle. That's it. That's what is inverse trigonometric function, and based on that, what can be the value of this whole thing is called domain. What can be the value of this is called range. See, domain and range remain same. It's not about what's the value of x or what's the value of y. It's about inside the function whatever you are using, that's domain. Finally whatever you are getting, that's range. And finally what you are getting, based on that you can always decide. Alright, so now from this table you can see what can be the domain and range of different functions. Okay, if you want you can remember, if you don't want you don't need to remember, it's up to you. I'll just quickly tell you what you need to know. See, for sine, cos, tan, cot, secant and cosecant in trigonometry you knew it very well. What would be the range for these functions? Okay, range means what can be the maximum value of sine theta, what can be the maximum value and minimum value of cos theta, sec theta, cosec theta, tan theta, cot theta, and as they were range in case of trigonometric functions, they'll become domain in case of inverse trigonometric functions. Now you can decide based on in which values, in between which values you'll be getting the same value. Like minus 1 to 1 you can get for sine inverse in between minus pi by 2 pi by 2. You don't need to go for the, but you know, this is not like you won't be getting the values any further, but it's defined in this way. The reason being, this is the minimum value. It's like, you know, the values exist here also, the value exists here also, but all the values you are going to get in between this only, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. But that does not mean you can't go beyond this, or you can't go beyond this. You'll be having other values as well, but we don't need, because in between this we are going to get all the values. Same is applied for cos also, same is applied for tan also, same is applied for cot also. So based on whatever you have learned for domain and range in trigonometry, the same is applied over here. It's just a domain and range, they will get interchanged because it's inverse trigonometric functions. You are taking inverse. These are the ratio values, which are the domains. Based on the ratio values, the angles you are going to get would give you a range. And the graphs. Okay, you must have learned the trigonometric graphs. This is for sine, this is for cos, this is for tan. See the graphs, these blue graphs are for trigonometric functions. Now if you see, the x-axis became y-axis and y-axis become x-axis. See what happens sometimes, the students they try to just rotate this. So you're not supposed to do that. The reason being, see, when you rotate, this plus will come over here and this minus will come over here. So you'll have minus y in this axis and plus y in this axis. Alright, as when you rotate it, this y will be written as x. Alright, now this is incorrect, right? On the right hand side we don't take negative values, on the left hand side we don't take positive values, and same is applied if you just move like this. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to think in this way. See, when x becomes y and y becomes x, see how the values are changing in sign. In sign, it starts from 0, it goes up, and finally it becomes 0 again. Here the sign will be 1. Similarly, when you take sine inverse, what will happen? It will start from 0, it will go up to 1, and it will come back at 180. So you'll be having angles over here, and you'll be having values over here, and the maximum value can be 1 and minimum value can be minus 1. But don't ever rotate it. Okay, think from the value perspective. Same is done for cos also, same is done for tan also. See, tan was happening like this, and if you see this x, if you consider this as angle and this as ratios, now this is, these red colored lines are the graphs for tan, and these blue colors are for same tan only. It's just these are inverse and these are trigonometric graphs. Similarly, there are certain other graphs. 3 we discussed, which is sine, cos and tan. There are 3 more, which are cot, secant, cosecant. This is for cot inverse, this is for secant inverse, this is for cosecant inverse. Okay. Yeah. So this is all about what exactly trigonometric, inverse trigonometric function means. They are completely related to trigonometry. So whoever is trying to understand inverse trigonometric functions from this video, I'm assuming that he already knows everything related to trigonometry. If you don't know, no problem in that. You can refer the videos for trigonometry. There everything is clearly explained, and also each and every term is explained over there. From there you can always understand, and these videos are only for the purpose of learning. If you are subscribing, if you are watching, if you are commenting, doesn't matter. My main aim is to make you learn inverse trigonometric function or any math concept I'm explaining properly. But if you subscribe, you'll get the notification for next video. And also if you comment, you can ask your doubts, you can let me know what video you want. Also anything, any kind of doubt, you can always ask me. Just one example I'll give you. Okay, you can ask me, like initially I told you sine x is a function of angle, but we are taking the ratio between the sides. You can ask me why. If we are taking the ratio between sides, why is it considered as a function of angle? That kind of doubts also you can ask in the comment. I'll clarify them, and some of the doubts you'll find in my videos as well. Okay, yeah, so that's it in this video. Rest of the things, like what are the different formula, what are the ways to remember formula, what are the values, those things you will learn in the upcoming videos. Yes, so finally, thanks for watching. Take care and stop overthinking. Math is simple. Think simply and stop mugging. Yes, yes. So that's it. Thank you.